And also, I want to thank Walmart because they came up with a fantastic study. It was the cost of Thanksgiving coming up. We're going to fix it with crime.
Travis Wayne Goodsell. Over the 10 years doing YouTube videos, 9K, there have been hundreds of thousands of people who have come to at least one video. And when you check the regular amount of videos that I get per video, you'll notice that the majority of the hundreds of thousands do not come back. They have rejected me. They have rejected my message. I've been telling you lately that I've been watching The Americans from FX back in the day about Russian spies in America during Ronald Reagan's presidency. They are sleeper cells, spying, gathering information, and performing hits where necessary to steal sensitive government material to give to Russia. And they're doing it right under the FBI and the CIA. It's based on the real events of the 80s. There still are Russian spies in America today. There are also Chinese spies, Islamic spies, other enemy spies of America, in America. But there's a daughter of one such main couple spy for the show, whose name is Paige. And she starts off as 13 years old, and when she becomes 14, she joins a Christian church and gets baptized. As members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, that is when Mormon kids begin early morning seminary. That is when boys become teachers in the Aaronic priesthood. And so in season 3, right? It's not 4, it's 3, I think. Pretty sure. They finally come out, and the parents come out and are forced to confess that they are Russian spies. And the teenage daughter, just starting early morning seminary, because it doesn't count as school credit, like Utah kids. And yeah, she's shocked. Everything she had grown up to believe all of a sudden has changed. She now has a new paradigm that she has to deal with. So she's going through the processing of it right now. as members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, yes, we go through a similar thing. My dad was born and raised in Rexburg, Idaho, as a farmer. It's Mormonville. And they had him count his seminary as school credit. So he graduated from high school, and as a Mormon, he naturally wanted to go to BYU. He put in his application to go to BYU, and they returned their response and said, no, you do not have enough credits to come to BYU. Yeah, they've since changed that, haven't they? And because of this, my dad was forced to go to the U of U. And at the U of U, he was assigned as the home teaching individuals because, yeah. Not family per se. It's unclear. They could have, I don't think they had singles wards back then, but my dad, being single, was assigned to singles. And thus my mom, who was working in a dental office there in Salt Lake City, at her apartment near where I used to live by the U of U. And in the same ward as my dad, and thus my dad was her home teacher. And thus, here I am. Because of the decisions they made, and the decision of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to reject my dad from going to BYU, I would not have been born. Although they do have genetically engineered babies now. This is going to be an intensive video. I'm not sure how many hours it will be. Just as a heads up warning, as we're now 8 minutes in and the majority of you have left. Because you were offended with something you saw at the beginning of the video. There's no sound! It's a picture. How old are you? God. Oh, what a nightmare this 10 years have been. And so I too, in Southern California, have early morning seminary that does not count as school credit. I am now being taught what the church wants me to believe. And they told me repeatedly during my time that just because I was born and raised Mormon doesn't mean I can believe whatever I want. I too have to be converted to the church. I can't just be a couch potato Mormon. So I've shown you my scriptures over the years, even this year, when Sister What's-Her-Name came out and showed the missionaries her scriptures, because we were the first class of seminary with the new scriptures with footnotes and Bible dictionary topical guide. So she was trying to brag about how she annotated her scriptures, because that's how we were taught. So I showed you mine. It's not a contest. But if by chance there is a Mormon listening who says, well, yeah, I studied as much as you did, obviously, because I've got my scriptures, I annotated them too. Okay, so do you know what I know? If you have studied the same amount, or even more, maybe you did more than myself, do you know what I know? Because it's not about doing the outward appearance. Have you internalized it? Converted. The majority of Mormons who attack me are nowhere near my level of study. That's why they attack me, because I scare them. You're scary. I'm scared. You're obviously of the devil, because I'm scared. 3 Nephi chapter 27. And howbeit my church, save it be called in my name. For if a church be called in Moses' name, well, that's an interesting choice. Did Moses have a church? Then it be Moses' church. Or if it be called in the name of a man, then it be the church of a man. You know, like Luther, or Lutheranism. But if it be called in my name, then it is my church. So Mormons make the argument, Jesus Christ is in the center of the name. Duh. And they will quote this out of context. It's not done yet. There's more meaning involved in this. Remember? Did you study as much as I did? And did you internalize it like I did? There's a qualifier. If. That if tells us that there are those who pretend outwardly to be a certain way in order to deceive. Thus, there are save two churches only, the church of the devil and the church of the Lamb. 1 Nephi 14:10. Here's the qualifier, if you're not going to follow along in the scriptures with me. If it so be that they are built upon my gospel. Ye are built upon my gospel, therefore ye shall call whatsoever things ye call in my name. But if you are built upon some other gospel, you are a fraud. And so this is what they were telling me when they said I had to be converted as a Mormon, just like converts to the church through being an investigator of the missionaries. Now you need to know what gospel is. And Christians have already set it up to alter the definition of gospel, alter the translation, and interpretation to mean doctrine. And so you have kata Mateion, kata Marcus, kata Lucas, kata Ionis. But kata doesn't mean kata. They changed that translation, interpretation, and meaning to. So it no longer means the downward motion, as the original Greek tells us it is. Because they created kata holik, the downward motion of the whole. And they celebrate the dismissal of Christ every 25th of December. Yeah, Luther recognized that the Catholic Church is not the gospel of the Bible. It's a different religion. He knew and understood this. He knows that this precept in the Book of Mormon is true, long before the Book of Mormon came out. And so likewise, Mormons, you need to know Mormonism in order to be converted internally. You can't just coast through. You can't just read, ponder, pray, and get the right feeling, and now you know, because you don't. Because you keep talking about your testimony needing to be strengthened, or you lost it. A testimony is a witness that was internalized. You can't lose that. You are now done with your faith in that thing, that precept. It is now dormant in you. Nobody can take it away, not even if they threaten you with death or cyber terrorism. Nonetheless, so what are the things of Mormonism? Well, I saw a tabloid news, probably by AI, 17 non-negotiable Mormon rules. This is Nevermo doing it, obviously, as I go through it. So one of them is tithing. See if you can catch the error, Mormons. In the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, tithing is a principle. 17 non-negotiable Mormon rules, where members are encouraged to donate. $10% of their income to the church. This is non-negotiable, and yet it still says donate. My non-negotiable donations if you haven't internalized this, you don't see it. dumbass billionaire. God. And even all exfo never mows. All of you, you dumbasses. Tithing is non-negotiable. It is not a donation. It is criminal mob organizations that tell you donation is non-negotiable. And if you don't donate, they send in the deacons to collect their $2. Otherwise, you're better off dead. How many of you know pop culture movie references? This is why I've been going over the picture with you. A criminal organization has a boss, a mob boss. Their replacement is called an underboss. They will have secretaries, cute women, typically, sometimes men, I guess. But they will have a counselor who is also a fixer. They're the ones that go and break your kneecaps. They will call themselves lawyers, but they don't practice the law according to the laws of the land. It's extortion threats. And the bagmen are the ones who collect the money. And then there are lieutenants that cover the expanded districts. And there are commanders. And there are soldiers under the commanders. It's the exact same administration of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Not Joseph Smith. No, no, no. It is not. In the Joseph Smith papers, because you'd never listen to me with my research. In one of the journals claiming to be by Joseph Smith. And it's not. Because you'll see on the 28th, well, I put this in the video, otherwise you'd have to see it elsewhere. July 1838. It records President Smith and President Rigdon left far west for Adam Ondi Aman to transact some important business and to settle some Canadian brethren in that place, as they are immigrating numerously to this land from all parts of the country. There's another place where it says that Joseph Smith and Sidney Rigdon are involved in the history of the church. So somebody else is writing this. So before July 28th, 1838. Continuation from the previous page. Thus far, according to the order of the Danites, we have a company of Danites in these times. Wait, what? This is another gospel than Joseph Smith. Because if it's by Joseph Smith, then there's no need to create an order of the Danites. You've got the order of ARMAGEDDon. The Church of Ammon. Right? What is this order of the Danites? Claiming that Joseph Smith is the leader, and yet this is a secret combination. To put to rights physically that which is not right, and to cleanse Joseph Smith's church. Shouldn't that be Joseph Smith's job? Of very great evils which have hitherto existed among us. What evils? Sounds like you're the ones who are the evil ones, enforcing your interpretation of Joseph Smith with violence, physical violence. That's the order of Nehor in Alma, chapter 1. Which is evil, in case you hadn't read it. Because there are Mormons who are unable to be put to rights by teachings and persuasions. These guys are missionaries. They're converting other people to the church. And yet, there are Mormons who are not believing them, who are believing another Mormonism. Now, in case you didn't know, the descendants of these Danites are now leaders in Utah and in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are the order of the Danites. Just in case you're confused, didn't know that Cox, Stewart, Curtis, Mendenhall, Oakes, are from the Danites. Among others. Lee, can't forget Lee. He was a clerk in 1846. So these Danites are obviously not the same gospel that Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon are preaching. They are another gospel. And yet they're the ones telling us Jesus Christ is in the center of the name. So what do you do now when you come to learn that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is what the Book of Mormon refers to as the great and abominable church of the great spirit of the devil? But Jesus is physical, Travis. Really? And how do we know him physically? Do we know him physically? Do you talk to Jesus? What does he tell you to do? Well, he tells you to physically hurt people? Commit crimes? Does he? That's your Jesus, huh? Oaks got leaked in the Boise rescue, where he told the Idahoans on the 13th of June 2015 that as a witness of the name of Christ, he, as an apostle of the living Jesus, physically real, never gets a personal manifestation of him. Oh, you sneaky Danite. And so he tells these Boise, Idaho Mormons who are apostates, who need to be physically put to rights for their evil. There were excommunications. That knowing that Jesus is physical, because he physically appeared to the Nephites for his second vision or second coming in America. And Joseph Smith physically saw Jesus Christ in the grove when within the shady woodland Joseph saw the God above. You mean outer space? The outer space aliens who came to the Roman period time to rape his 14-year-old daughter Mary, to give birth physically to rape baby Jesus. And that's never been a problem for you, huh? You're okay with that? Church is so true, huh? Your spiritual witnesses are tingling so true. Spiritual witness feelings to know the truth about what's physical. Because there is no physical manifestation. And he's a lawyer. A former fixer. Who came out and discussed the fixer organization for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, called the Strengthening Church Members Committee. They're activating us who have fallen. Physically. So these Danites, as reported by Thomas B. Marsh, took oaths and made other Mormons take oaths to follow them. against Joseph Smith. Benjamin Franklin Johnson tells his journal entry about moving with his family to Adam, Ondi, Aman. And he's arrested. A Mormon moving to a non-town. It wasn't a town. There was no town. That's what the election was going to determine. There was a guy running for office who says, I know how to develop the land of Adam, Ondi, Aman. Spring Hill. The Danites said, oh hell no, and began moving Mormons to that area so that they can then vote in the election to get rid of that guy and put in their candidate for their city, township. And all hell broke loose instead. And they were being forced to make a blood oath covenant of death to support the commanders, lieutenants, and the boss with the underboss being soldiers of the Danites, because they go on to talk about companies of tens with commanders over them, putting physically to right what is not right in their eyes. To support this administration that is criminal. Whatever they say or do, whether right or wrong. When I went to the Los Angeles Temple on the 6th of May, 1819, dear God, I'm aging myself, 1989, new name Nephi. A rare new name because of what Benson pulled. Well, it's actually Kimball. Benson stopped it. He also changed the temple text in 1991. My parents took me, obviously, because I was going on a mission to New York, New York. And so, just like Paige's parents, they finally confess Mormonism with the temple endowment. I go into the initiatories and I have to get naked. That's uncomfortable, but they give me a shield. Still uncomfortable. And I get into a booth and I sit down, and there's an ordnance worker who dips his hand into the running water in the little sink, miniature sink that is behind me. And I'm sitting there naked with the shield over me. And he then begins into the ritual wording. It's been a while to see if I got it, and I'm likely to miss things or put things out of order. But nonetheless, he touches the parts of my body that he's talking about. You'll notice that it's different than today. where you can be dressed now. And they actually want you to be dressed. They don't want you naked now. No more nudity. No more nudity. Nudity is porn. It kills. Kills kids. And so he's touching me. And he has to lift up the robe to get his hand in to touch me. Get your hand away from there. Very uncomfortable. Nonetheless, I make it through. So then I get up after the other guy comes in and seals the washing. Go into the next booth. Again, now with oil. In the shape of a shofar horn. Little cup of oil. And he touches me everywhere. I'm now oily. Water and oil don't mix, by the way. Nonetheless, I again get through it. And the guy who seals the anointing, I am now Melchizedek, a king and a high priest unto the Most High God, hereafter to rule and reign in the house of Israel forever. In the final booth, the guy has underwear for me that my parents had to supply. I now have to wear this underwear for the rest of my life. Very uncomfortable, especially as he gives me a wedgie and then puts his hand down my crotch to tuck in the shirt, because they now created two-piece underwear rather than the one-piece. And this guy is old school, so two-piece is an abomination. The church is strayed. It needs to be one piece. So I'm tucking it in. And so Anubis, who is escorting me through all of this. Anubis? Who's Anubis, Travis? Google search it. You'll find him in the judgment scene. You'll also find him in facsimile number 1 and 3. He says I don't need to tuck it in. Yeah, I was not going to tuck it in anyway. I'm just doing this to go through the motions. I had no idea what's going on. I was not given a temple prep class. My parents didn't tell me anything, other than when I asked mommy about what does the Egyptians say, she says, well, when you go to the temple and get endowed, then you'll have the spirit to tell you. Oh, the spirit to tell me about things physical, huh? And so, back in that day, they just had the one room. The remodeling created multiple rooms, apparently. And it is packed. And so it's a shared environment of a bunch of us twigs bound together for the symbol of fascism. Don't you dare leave, or you'll be snapped like a twig. You have to stay bound to the group. We are Borg. We are one. And we go through the introduction, And they're telling me that if I don't want to proceed, to stand up among all the people and say I'm out. But what am I out for? I don't know yet. Can we go through it and then I can tell you afterward? Nope. You have to decide now. And I can't tell anyone about what I'm about to go through. Whatever it is I'm about to go through. Or I will be destroyed. And sure enough, wouldn't you know it? The penalty of death. As a 19-year-old boy, that is the oath. I still remember thinking in my head, what the hell did I get involved in? Thomas B. Marsh shares his feelings, as many other Mormons like him, that they're dissatisfied with this oath. As being against moral and religious principles. Thomas B. Marsh was the president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. He knew Joseph Smith's religion. He knew this wasn't Joseph Smith's religion. And like Page, like me, he was now confronted with an alternate reality. And he made the conscious choice to see something and say something to the governor of Missouri. And these Danites then vilified him for it, framing and blaming and lying. Yeah, it wasn't about his wife's honor with milk strippings. But Monson goes into great detail to discuss milk strippings, because that's important. Milk strippings are the part of the milk that is stripped off. Oh, wow, detailed information must be true. Yeah, killed Tyler Robinson. He's obviously guilty because of such great detail of being a trans Antifa terrorist. Yeah, remember? Governor Cox. He's a Danite. It's what they do. It's what they do to Mormons. This is where other false documents appear. Section 115 about the name of the church. Section 116 about Adam-on-Diamond. Section 117 confessing about the reason why people were going to Adam-on-Diamond. Newell K. Whitney, verse 11. Exposing the sexual deviance of these Danites. The Nicolaitan Band. which is known to us by the traditions of Christianity. They, by creating the forged document of Section 117, are confessing to the sexual deviance that they did. And that sexual deviance was masked by Revelation chapter 2, Nicolaitan band. But the bishop's storehouses for Section 119, yeah, now it's for Jesus. It's no longer for the poor. The ones on baptisms for the dead, yeah, it's because of the Adam-on-Diamond coup of the future United States of America and ultimately the whole world. The 200-year-old coup these Danites are responsible for. Oakes, remember? Him too. He came through the sister of Martin Harris. Danites. So, what got me into this apartment was finding the quote that I knew as a Mormon myth, the Constitution shall hang by a thread. Because I knew we were in the latter days. So I knew, oh God, it was just a short time and already, oh God. I noticed it wasn't the other guy though. He's gone. So is the other car that protected his spot right at my window. That's weird. Something weird's going on, Governor Red. Or not Governor Red. Police Chief Red. With Sister Homewrecker Mendenhall marrying into the Danites. I don't remember what his original name was. Can't remember that now. But yeah, you can tell by her gospel that she's a Danite. She's fully embraced it because of her sin that they compromised her with as a homewrecker, a sexual deviant of the Danites. So I found it. And it's not according to the myth. The priesthood meeting at Adam-on-Diamond is really what it is. This Constitution hanging by a thread was 19 July 1840 by Joseph Smith. That was also a shock. What? We're not going back to Independence, Missouri, as many of us suppose, because of the Danites, which is actually Adam-on-Diamond where we're supposed to go, according to the Danites, Heber C. Kimball and John Taylor. Nonetheless, I found the Adam-on-Diamond priesthood meeting, searching high and low for it with the internet that was now available for me. Can't find it. Where is it? I need to know. I would find a member of the 70 who talked about it, but he claimed that he was the source because he wouldn't reference it. So I thought that that was it until I found it. Joseph Fielding Smith Sr., president of the non-existent Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The United States shut him down as a criminal operation. No duh. In the Way to Perfection, the gathering at Adam-on-Diamond. So I've been showing you this thumbnail picture ever since. After October Conference 2021, and you'll see the missionary card. How can I find lasting happiness? ComeUntoChrist.org. And then you'll see my little finger holding the card up to the camera to take the picture. I guess I couldn't find the picture online, or I was showing you the original one that I was given as the death threat. Remember, put physically to right. They send you death threats. Oaks this year, 5 death threats before Easter. You need to pay attention. They're threatening your life to obey them. Remember? Keep the covenant path, Mormons. Nelson was giving you a death threat. Did you catch it? No? The Gathering at Adam-on-Diamond, pages 290 and 291, and on 291 by voice of the priesthood. This council in the valley of Adam-on-Diamond, spelled the way we've always known it to be, not the way the Danites spelled it, not the way Joseph Smith spelled it, in the alphabet and grammar from the Joseph Smith papers. They are mocking Joseph Smith, by the way, with their alternative spelling and using it for the non-existent township. Is to be of the greatest importance to this world. At that time, there will be a transfer of government authority from the usurper and impostor Lucifer to the rightful King Jesus Christ. Judgment will be set. Our Lord will then assume the reins of government. When this gathering is held, the world will not know of it. The members of the church at large will not know of it. Well, isn't Jesus real and physical? Can't we just prove to the world that we're true? We've taken over the government. Wouldn't the world know? The world cannot know of this. The saints cannot know of this. So it's a secret combination? Preparatory to the coming in the clouds of glory of Jesus Christ, the Flamer. Flaming Jesus. Not to be confused with the Flaming Moe. Company tricked him out of the ingredients. And they stole his idea and it went national. Poor Mo. Yeah, Joseph Smith warned us of this. His 1838 history, the second vision. When Nephi appears, because it wasn't Moroni, Willard Richards changed the name. If it's not the name, it's not true. He changed the name of the church. He wrote in. You see his handwriting. Jesus Christ. For verse 1. That's why they tell you Jesus appeared to Joseph Smith, because he doesn't say it's Jesus. We're led to assume because they start with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That wasn't Joseph Smith's church name. It's the Church of Mormons, Latter-day Saints. That was the name. You, Mormons, it's your church. And you are going to give birth to the one who would be your Christ for the latter days. But you don't care. Jesus! And Joseph Smith tells us in this vision that the church says is literal history now, that they that come shall burn them. Those in verse 1, the evil disposed and designing militant missionaries in Joseph Smith's church, forming a coup, lying about the name, lying about the gospel, lying about the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith's 1835 Doctrine and Covenants. And they're going to frame and blame Jesus for it. And there, Joseph Fielding Smith Sr., the son of Hiram Smith, got deceived by the Danites with the cover story when they told Thomas B. Marsh directly, "We are gonna do it." So Joseph Fielding Smith Sr. believes it's Jesus who's gonna come and do it. Shh, don't tell, or we'll have to kill you. And thus I'm here. I'm verse 24 of Helaman chapter 6. So good old Dallas, new name Harris Oaks. Thank you, Anderson. Have they not made you keep your temple covenant path yet? No? You went and did that devotional for young adults, huh? Where you tell the young adults in D.C., this is Jesus. See, he's looking at you just like you can see him. He's physical. He loves you. Church is so true. I always wondered, what are they going to do? How are they going to pull it off? Is it going to be like 1984? Is it going to be like the reboot Time Machine? The Wizard of Oz? Or just an outright statue? I did the videos joking it was going to be the statue. That Jesus is late. Nelson failed to build his palace. That's conference. There he is. With the parable parable of the 5 foolish virgins statue. Only those of you who are converted to the correct church are laughing with me. When you know the truth, you are able to know the falsehoods, the forged documents. I mean, section 132, what the bleeping hell? 10 child bride virgins? And then to find out that the Joseph Smith Papers has Joseph Smith's 1835 Doctrine and Covenants with monogamy. And then I find Brigham Young's Little Black Book of Sealings of 1846 with John D. Lee as clerk. That is when Joseph Smith got sealed to all those women. He never got sealed to any woman in 1843. It was all a Danite con and lie, and you fell for it. Because you didn't study and internalize it to be converted to the truth. Bleeping Jesus H. Christ. Jesus Harris Christ. Oh my God. Oaks got leaked again. This time it was only to the brand new mission presidents who were going to be gone for 3 years. And so he felt confident enough to leak what he shouldn't have leaked. That they wouldn't record him, that they wouldn't quote him, that they would forget about what he said, that they would go on their mission for 3 years. Being focused on the mission, not about what he said. And he snuck it in, but he did it in chiasmus, which is why it stayed on the mind of President Marquis, and he most likely wrote it down in his notebook, listening. Because he put it in the letter to stake presidents and parents of the missionaries, one of whom was Sister Jessica, who posted everything. So cute. And remember, my parents, BYU rejected my dad, and so he went to the University of Utah, and therefore met my mom, as he was her home teacher. Sister Jessica is a 19-year-old girl, because Monson changed the age of missionaries to 19 rather than 21 when my mom went on her mission to the eastern states, in Canada only. And so just Sister Jessica is going on her mission as a 19-year-old rather than having to wait for another 2 years to go on a mission. And it just happened to be to the mission where President Marquis is going. And it just happened to be that President Marquis was the only person who quoted Oaks. So, yes, just a coincidence. And it just happened to be last November when a Mormon who does YouTube videos found it. A month after conference where Nelson said in a coming day, Jesus. Because Mormons go on vacation for conference weekend. They don't listen. They already know the church is true from their feelings. then he passed it on to another Mormon who does YouTube channel videos. And the Mormon YouTube employee down in Utah County in his mommy's basement who likes to torture me and act like a Danite to put to rights Travis physically through cyber terrorism, to shut me down and silence my channel, because there should be far more than hundreds of thousands coming to my videos if given the opportunity. They know this. Nonetheless, he recommended a video of the guy. I went, oh! That's why it didn't happen in 2021. You bastard. A test run? A bleeping test run. 200-year plot. And you changed at the last year to a test run for 2020, March 14th. We're now running a test for the end of the world. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the one who's a direct descendant of the sister of the Danite, who converted, by the way, as a traitor. There's a reason why he's called the evil man in the Doctrine and Covenants. And sure enough, he was true to his character. Running a test for the end of the world. So yes, I knew this had to do with Adam on Diamond. That the church has been given authority to rule the world. And I had found before that conference in October 2021, the secret combination of America cooing it. And there was Mark Skousen as the member, replacing his daddy, Mr. Naked Communist. And the 1,000-year series crap. As a child, I saw that in my parents' library. I started reading over it and I went, this is plagiarizing the Bible. He's not giving anything new. He's plagiarizing. He's just copying Genesis in here. What the bleeping hell? You know, at least Talmage put in big words that nobody else knows unless they get a dictionary for Jesus the Christ. And so, yes, it's interesting that he put 1 BC, 6th of April, for Jesus' birth, because then 1 CE, he's 1 year old. So, from the Doctrine and Covenants, Mormons believe that Joseph is giving the actual date of Jesus' birth and say it's 1 CE instead. No. Talmage is correct. It has to be 1 BCE, and yet Bruce R. McConkie puts in the footnotes that Jesus will be born 600 years from the time Lehi left Jerusalem, and so we altered history and archaeology to say that the first year of the reign of King Zedekiah was 600 BCE instead of 597 BCE, so that it would not be 4 CE and it would be 1 CE, and that still can't be the date because it has to be 1 BCE. So it needs to be 601 BCE. You need to get the right feeling. Oh my God. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the enemy. The Danites, the great and abominable church of the devil. Not Joseph Smith's church. I already knew from my study, already knew when I went to the temple at 19, already knew when my parents were taking away my agency that it was the doctrine of Lucifer. It doesn't matter what they say about Jesus, it's Lucifer's doctrine, Lucifer's plan of happiness. You can't lie to me. You can call it whatever name you want, but the qualifier makes it very clear that you're the doctrine of Lucifer. You're the enemy of all mankind. You can't lie to me. I know. Physically. And that physical knowledge is reinforced with spirit. Because of all the happy feelings I get about it. Oh, dear God. So, on with the rest of the video, right? What other pictures do I have that I not cover? Oh, yeah. The church, therefore, because they're not true and have no authority, claim they aren't true and have no authority and do not have the gifts. They do not have the right keys to be the head of the church. They claim Peter. But, likewise, it's their official statement that they are not seers, prophets, revelators, and especially translators. That they won't even claim the title for translator. It's all titles. And they claim, well, the hands were laid on our head, therefore we're true. Right, Holland? No, you need to have authority before you touch other people. Can't just go around touching people. You need permission and consent. You need to inform them in advance so that they can choose to join your evil organization willingly or go and report you to the government who will do nothing about it as you're cooing the government. Do Christians know that you're going to coup the government for Mormonism and not evangelicalism? Do they know? Do they know? Does Trump know you're going to assassinate him? And that you're well underway on that one? Through one of the ways, not the others. Those failed. So, yeah. Today is Friday the 13th, Thursday the 13th of November, 2025. Yeah, those of you who know, Friday the 13th came from the Pope in conjunction with King of Spain, was it? Who tried to round up all of the Knights Templar on that one day. And they didn't have our current Gregorian calendar. They used the Julian calendar, and so apparently it was on a Thursday, the 13th. But because of our transition to the new calendar, everybody then claimed it was Friday the 13th. So, thus, the movie series, Friday the 13th. Which, I think I've got another song for the description below, rather than that one. Where do I have it written down? I did write it down, right? Wrote it down, didn't I? Oh, right. Yeah, Mr. Tinker Train. Where did I put that? I know I put it in here somewhere. Because of the news that we're going to be going over today. Mr. Tinker Train, there it is. There it is. Mr. Tinker Train. So they confess that they're false, and Mormons are being forced to accept their truths. So the shutdown is over. Trump signed it last night. It is now officially over. SCOTUS had previously ordered that Snap is not to be released fully until today at noon. So, Friday, people will get their Snap in Utah, I'm assuming. Or this evening, I don't know. It depends. Governor Cox wants you dead. The Speaker of the House wants you dead. They don't want you to get fed. They refused to give aid to the poor and the hungry. They refused to feed the single mothers, the infants, and the children. They neglected you to murder you because they're Danites. It's what they do. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints did nothing and went silent, putting Cassé, who is the the bagman, to become a lieutenant as a reward. And nothing for Mormons. There are only 141 bishop storehouses for the over 30,000 bishops. Section 42, every single bishop is to have a storehouse. Even the Danites know this, because they created one for the non-existent township of Adam-on-Diamond, making Newell K. Whitney the bishop, not by Joseph. Remember, forged document. Joseph didn't know. They refused to protect Mormons, to prepare Mormons, to care for Mormons, when they plotted it. They betrayed you, Mormons, if you're still listening after an hour and a half. They betrayed you. And you still think they're true, huh? Well, Heber C. Kimball said a test. We're going to be put to the test. I need to be loyal to the church. Do you? Because the devil never supports his own. This is the church of the devil. Obviously, they ain't going to support you. They threaten you and force you to pay tithing as a donation. It's non-negotiable. They were going to murder you. And then we find out that this was just another of the tests. No! Bleeping hell, Jesus H. Christ! God damn you! God damn you all to hell! So understand that all Mormons in the Senate and in the House voted for this alteration to deny health care in the coming weeks. Just so that you're clear, health care is next. It's not over yet. January 30th, Friday. It's only been extended till then. So this was the first test wave, breaking the record. 43 days. And it's Trump's record that he broke. And they're going to do it again, unless they can destroy America and cause a civil war before then. And so the next threat is doing away with health care. And ooh, the Antifa are angry. We're gonna get them, and that we're gonna make sure. We all know it's gonna be voted down. Don't give me that crap. Don't give me that crap. Because you needed far more Democrats. You know, you had 6 Democrats that voted yay, and 2 Republicans that voted nay. And I don't understand why they're still using Republican and Democrat. It's MAGA. It's the MAGA party. It is not the Republicans. It's no longer the GOP. It's MAGA. And yet we are still being lied to. This is Trump's MAGA nation now. And Democrats are Antifa. We are not making the official change. They're still leading you to believe it's the same old thing. Same old situation. Same old ball and chain. It's the same old situation. That's what we're gonna do. Old situation. So, Friday the 13th, Thursday the 13th, the 8th day of the House of Israel's Festival of Tents, Tabernacles, Ingathering Harvest. Suck it, as the Jews were last month. Yesterday, Oaks and Cox were judged, and they failed, with its accompanying sign in heaven. All hell is breaking loose. There is a trigger event coming to destroy Mormons. We need to get to Zion, to the right location, by the way, while the rest of the world kills themselves off with the mass extermination plotted by the Danites. Fox News had a son of a Hamas leader. I'm sure it's true. Why would they lie? That the sleeper cells of Hamas, Islam, in the United States have now been greenlit to attack us. Yep, the nukes are coming. Nukes are coming. All different ways, not just one. Not just one way. They have been trying multiple ways. The giving machines? Yeah, Mormons ran away from that one, didn't you? Ooh, you're uncomfortable. You don't like exterminating the Jews, at least publicly. But you have no problem giving to Islamic terrorism that the money goes to fund the war against Israel. And to overthrow the government, by the way, of the United States of America. Follow the money, guys. Don't be stupid. Don't pretend you don't want to know. That is what you're doing when you give to the giving machines. It is a church money laundering and funding of terrorism operation. That's their threefold mission of the church. To lie about theft, destruction, and murder. The Danite mission. John chapter 10, verses 1 and 10. Thank you, Oaks, for not covering that and quoting out of context for your death threat to us. For Easter. So, even though Rubio went to the G7, there was no U.S. representative for the COP30 in Brazil. The climate change thing. There are riots in Brazil. All hell's breaking loose. Child faith has gone missing. There was a tornado that struck. And then there's the riots. So child faith has gone missing. AI, still causing problems, not just for censorship. Censorship is a denial of free speech. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is all about censorship, in case you hadn't caught on yet. That's why they're so obsessed with porn. Because they're sexually deviant. They sexually abuse Mormons to not have sex and pay them to not have sex, and then to pay them to prostitute Mormon women, as men are supposed to be the head of the household and paying tithing. Women are supposed to stay home barefoot, pregnant, in the kitchen, looking so cute in those outfits that they do try-on haul videos for on YouTube, but then get banned as porn. So, YouTube, on the very day that the Democrat gets sworn in, so that they hold the vote, they also get to vote on the Epstein files, and yep, they got released. 2,000 plus pages. And yes, I got my own copy, as I already had his blacklist. And so I already knew Trump was involved. I knew Ivanka was involved. I knew Ivana was involved. I knew Ronald McDonald K. Jr. was involved. I knew the former prince was involved. And yes, there are, as Anna Kasparian pointed out, that there are Jews who are involved. There are also Christians who are involved. There are also Islamists who are involved. This secret combination is involved. It's a collection of people from the world and the world's religions and companies and such. But do not generalize the whole religion for these few who are the secret combination, being the puppets of the puppet master, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And so censorship used by the church is for the blackmail extortion, blacklisting you. That is censorship. Having to verify you're 18 is censorship. Shutting down sites for our protection is censorship. It's Christians who cause the cyber terrorism for which they're claiming as Christian to protect you from. Because Christians, as the Danites expose, disapprove of other people's lifestyles. They worship Lucifer and demand you obey their community guidelines. YouTube should not be having community guidelines. They need to follow the Constitution in America. Free speech and expression. Art, stay away from it. Videos are art. Women, are they beautiful, lovely, of good report and praiseworthy, or not? This is the attack to destroy us, to destroy the government. Censorship that goes blatantly against the First Amendment, that goes blatantly against the Constitution to protect artists and copywriters. YouTube is in violation of the laws of the land by siding with community guidelines that matches the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That makes YouTube a terrorist insurrectionist, censoring people, banning their channels, banning their videos, making a blacklist of 18-plussers, programming their AI to attack, to cyber terrorize people. This is the war. It's already begun. And this is why nobody's catching on. The 2024 election for president had AI in the voting machine programs. You got distracted by denialism that it was Musk's Skynet from outer space signaling into the machines. No. The program in the machines was AI. For the first time ever, they ran the test. And sure enough, after Trump became president, the stocks skyrocketed because of AI. Everybody knew. And they want in. We can rig a presidential election. LGBTQIAPO plus in Canada 2S voted for Trump. Blacks voted for Trump. Islamists, terrorists from Gaza voted for Trump. The poor voted for Trump. The illegal undocumented voted for Trump twice on bamboo ballot AI. Women voted for Trump. The elderly voted for Trump. Because they were confused. They didn't know how to vote after all their years of voting. So Governor Bush of Florida steps in to sue. Oops, I'm mixing elections, aren't I? Chinese voted for Trump. Canadians voted for Trump. Greenland voted for Trump. And so, with this midterms, the Dems swept. They swept it bigly. And they're now saying those who voted for Trump not only didn't vote for Cuomo, they voted for Mandani, who's a commie, who's unconstitutional. He can't run for office if he's a commie. It's in the Constitution. Nonetheless, yeah, your votes were altered in the 2024 election. And so without AI in the programming this time, the true vote got exposed in New York and other places that were holding specific elections of significance. They're setting you up, and you're not catching on to what's going on. And so AI, Google, and Microsoft have been censoring. They've been freezing my sites, trying to get online. It freezes, and my mouse can't do anything about it. It's AI causing it. It's gonna get worse. So, Utah gave $4 million to the Utah Food Bank last week. Yesterday, the Utah Food Bank made it very clear. We're out tomorrow, Friday. They were given $4 million, and in 1 week, it's gone. That's all the government of Utah gave to just the Utah Food Bank, rather than to supply the SNAP. They chose instead to give to the food bank, which pays their paychecks, and it's all gone now. They're out tomorrow, unless they get further donations. They're not a company. They're a charity. Just like the church is not a charity, nor a company. nor a bank. It's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And they don't even have storehouses. What are you good for then? Nothing? Right, you're overthrowing America. So AI also has some problems that nobody is catching on to. AI has to be programmed. And in order for its program to function to deceive people into thinking it's an intelligence, it requires mass amounts of data. And so they have to keep getting more and more devices to store the information. They are draining all of the information from the internet and beyond that are programmed into it. This is gazillions of terabytes that they need data farms for. Data centers, as they're called, I guess, that are just buildings with these devices to store the programming. And so as a result, it requires a lot of energy, and it's eternally growing, ever learning but never coming to a knowledge of the truth. It is going to eternally grow in data, constantly adding more and more terabytes upon terabytes upon terabytes of storage for all of it, in all of its forms: video, audio, documents. Massive amounts of storage device space, forever, perpetually growing, and thus the perpetual need for the energy to run it, and thus why they're wanting to be hooked up to nuclear power plants rather than solar. AI is a malware virus that's been running fire sales on everything it touches. It's coming. Skynet is gonna be operational. Because of this surge of energy required, as we've got one being built here in Utah now. Not just the data center of the what federal agency is it? What three acronym name is it? NSA, National Security Administration, down in Harriman. That's all that was. It's an AI data storage. But the government pays for that. These corporations use our energy source that we have to pay when they hook it up to our system, to Rocky Mountain Power. And that is causing people across the nation to have higher electric bills, because the company doesn't want to pay for it. And so it's passed on to the people to pay for it. That's why your electric bills are skyrocketing. Trump says it's not, so who do you believe? Trump, obviously. AI does what Trump's Sharpie pen did in his first term. AI says it, it must be true. Believe the Sharpie pen. It's like an auto pen. But this skyrocketing of power, energy, and space is going to collapse because people aren't going to be able to afford to live. Systems are going to be destroyed. And then we can't access the internet, not just because of the censorship, because of the meltdown, as we've already seen. Microsoft, Amazon, worldwide collapse. This is the whole plot, to just run it up until it explodes. And then we're all back in the Stone Ages because we're all dependent upon it. And it's gone. Genetically engineered babies. People are concerned. And it didn't help that Sydney Sweeney did the Good Genes commercials. But she's so cute, like a baby. Who wouldn't want a genetically engineered baby? Well, is the baby gonna be the white master race? Yeah, that would be the real concern that we should have. If it's to get rid of the bad DNA that causes cancers and deformities and other problems with the human body, there's nothing wrong with that. But the only way to do it is to have the man ejaculate, and then the scientists go through the individual sperm to genetically alter it, and then plant it in the woman. You can't put it back in the man after it's out of the tube. It's all in vitro fertilization. And so now we're getting into the realm of Krypton and how their marriages and babies were produced. Because sex is evil. And Superman was a genetically altered human. Whereas Luther I missed that. That was an awesome series. But because of the incident that happened in Pittsburgh for its season finale of season 2, they thought that nobody was interested in the show because the ratings were down, because everybody was watching the news in Pittsburgh. It's online now, it's streamed. People can watch it whenever they want. And you gave up because you didn't understand this transition that you yourself were a part of. And you wouldn't do season 3? Oh my God! It was awesome! It was Superman's grandpa. Come on! Dude! And so Superman and Lois, that was fine. That was okay. I didn't like the ending. I mean, seriously, Superman. And yet his heart got squashed by Lex Luthor? Seriously? So a genetically engineered heart, but still not super. You ruined it with the ending. I was okay with the twins. The Superman Returns movie only had the one child. But Kevin Spacey, classic line, "Are you sure?" She knows. She knows. You can't fool us. It's not an immaculately conceived child. Don't fool us, Lois. Asthma, whatever. He's Superman. How could he have breathing problems? It's not like my case where my babysitter smoked, causing my breathing problems from allergies. Just a coincidence, by the way. So yes, with the release of the Epstein files, YouTube has returned to the sex trafficking ads from Cyprus. Oh my God. So because of the length of this video, I'm not going to be putting all of this fun stuff in for you as I intended in the beginning, last night. So we're just going to have simple pictures, I guess. Nobody's watching anyway, or everybody comes to one video and require all the pictures, all of the 9K videos, or they don't believe. So, yeah, this bill was an extortion threat by MAGA to make the choice. Do you want the government shut down, or do you want to lose health care? You pick. Oh, Schumer! Ooh, he wants the government shut down. MAGA doesn't have a replacement for health care. It was just a bill to do away with it. This is how they trick you. You're not supposed to do bills to do away with stuff without a replacement. People need health care. Now, yes, Trump says we want it privatized. So do a bill to turn health care into privatized system run by the states. And yet, nobody wants to do it. Because what do you do with those with pre-existing conditions and the elderly who are about to die and on government benefits that are being taken away? Being left up to the states to take care of them. And nobody wants that kind of a burden when you're starting out a new business. You'll lose out on money. It is not profitable. That's why insurance companies already have it to say, oh, sorry, pre-existing conditions, you're going to have to pay more if you're going to want our insurance. That's why the government had to step in. So many abusive people who don't understand how to run a government perpetuate the abuse that MAGA is pushing. The devil never supports his own. They don't learn until it's too late. You got to provide an alternative in the bills. You can't just do a bill to say we're stopping this when it's a basic necessity of people's lives. And so yes, they'll discuss the health care bill to extend Obamacare and the premiums going up next year. And then it'll be rejected. And the Democrats will cry and complain, oh no! We never saw this coming! Even though we cried about it in the beginning for the reason why we allowed the government to be shut down. But we We will be putting in Trump's video clips. I kept forgetting to do the crime one. So yes, another bleeping test run. So yes, when I expose this church, Mormons run and hide from those videos. And the few that do dare come, they say they want the church to be evil. That's what they mean when they put a thumbs down on my videos. That they fully accept the church as evil and that they are evil. And they're demonstrating that with their thumbs down, their hate comments, their death threats, their false testimonials of how true the church is and I'm of the devil. Bleep you. Did you study like I did? No. So you don't know. And you still think you're going to shut me down by making yourself exposed as a Danite? Remember, I grew up among the Danites of the branch off from 9/11/1826, Canandaigua, New York, of the York Rites Freemason Lodge by the Master Mason, with the Knights Templar as the highest rank, of the Egyptian gold plates buried in the ground in America. Joseph Smith Sr., who knew all about Friday the 13th being on Thursday. They gave you the dates. They gave you the times. Because they knew the enemy's plot. So, Hamas is still holding 4 hostages. They refused to give them all, yet again, when they were supposed to. And so everybody's blaming Israel, wanting Netanyahu to fry like Tyler Robinson. So Trump is coming out and saying, pardon him. Pardon him. It's not about the name. It's not about the title. It's about the content, the substance, the conversion, the gospel.